Hey, welcome to another episode of The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Before we get into this segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment, so if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. I do have a job, but any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. And more important, let us help you help us by introducing you to a program. There's a link down below that says Equal Justice for All. You're going to click that video link, and there's some educational tutorial about a phenomenal program in America that is really making equal justice a reality for every citizen. So this program is phenomenal. The proceeds from you participating in the program will go back, 10% will go back into the Bob TV YouTube channel. So anyway, my name is Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Let's get into it.
Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Well, Ilhan Omar, the beautiful young lady right there. See, Republicans like this picture because it look like she's pissed off, she's mad, because they just assume that is her whole mentality, that she's pissed off and mad at this nation. Now, look, she got every right to be pissed off and mad at this nation. Just like I got every right to be pissed off, you got every right to be pissed off. Just because America is the land of the free, home of the brave, don't negate the fact that our country do horrible things. Not our country per se, but the leadership in our country. And she's speaking out against that, and she's speaking out against that on a public platform to reach millions all over the world, and they cannot stand it. Now recently, Omar, matter of fact, let me take that picture because that's the Republican want you to believe Ilhan Omar is. They want you to look at this picture of her. Pretty as she is, you know, she's beautiful. In her headdress, whom they can't stand, not knowing that in some Christian circles, they have to have a headdress. Catholics, priests, they have a headdress, but it's wrong for a Muslim woman to have a headdress. It's a headdress, dog. It's not killing you. Why are you worrying about it? This is the picture that they don't want you to see of Ilhan. Yeah, look at that picture of her. It's cute as a button, man. Look at that smile. Look how the way when she smiles, her nose crinkle up. Now let me stop. All right, no, she's a beautiful woman. She's married. I don't go that route, but I call out beauty when I see it. Beauty is beauty, and I appreciate beauty, and I call out wherever I see it. Doesn't mean I'm trying to get fresh and nothing like that. I just call it out. What they want you to believe is this lady has so much anti-American in her heart. She's so anti-patriotic to the point that there are people right now threatening to kill this lady, threaten her life. Now, over some comments. Now, we're going to go over the comments. I'm going to go over...
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
That was the clip posted Monday by a controversial Australian Twitter user. Yesterday, it was retweeted by Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw with the comment, first member of Congress to ever describe terrorists who killed thousands of Americans on 9/11 as some people who did something unbelievable. New York Congressman Peter King is also outraged.
Absolute disgrace. I mean, this is...
Now, this fool don't need to say nothing because he's a disgrace all in one. He's been a disgrace for 40 freaking years since whatever, how many years he's been in office. He's just racist. He's one of the most racist New Yorkers I ever met in my doggone life. Oh, bigot.
Insult to everyone who was killed, murdered on September 11th.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was speaking at a fundraiser for CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations Los Angeles chapter, on March 23rd.
This is becoming a habitual manufactured outrage.
Hussam Elouche is the executive director of CARE LA.
She did not want to dignify these terrorists, and the topic about which she was talking about was CARE. She's talking about how CARE established civil rights work, how the American Muslim community has been feeling since that horrific act.
Here is an extended clip of the comment.
Far too long, we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. And frankly, I'm tired of it, and every single Muslim in this country should be tired of it. CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Elouche says people should watch the entire 20-minute speech.
If anything, that's probably a great speech praising why people come to America, why her parents decided to come as refugees, seeking liberty and justice.
Congressman King says he has not watched the full speech and says he doesn't need to.
You can't talk about it in such an abstract way.
So I hate when people say that. How are you going to make a comment all of a sudden you never watched the full speech? You hear clips of something, and then you take the clips and you're already passing judgment. Well, he don't need to hear nothing because she ain't even got to say nothing out of his mouth, and he's going to be racist, xenophobe, because he's a bona fide bigot. That big old head. He ain't got nothing to say. He's been racist all this time. All you have to do is read those books in the background. You'll probably find a racist one back there somewhere. All right, so this dude, he just need to be quiet.
It was too human. This was blood and guts that was shed that day.
Well,
like she didn't know it was blood and guts shed that day.
this afternoon, Congresswoman Omar called this dangerous incitement given the death threats she faces and that her love and commitment to our country should never be in question. Late this afternoon, Congressman Crenshaw responded by tweeting that he never called her un-American or incited violence against her and that her comment is still unbelievable.
All right, so it's CARE, Council for American Islamic Relations. Let's go into the history of this, because people want to paint this as an Islamic radical organization in America. Let's look at the mission. CARE vision is to be a leading advocate for justice and mutual understanding. CARE's mission is to enhance understanding of Islam, protect civil rights, promote justice, and empower American Muslims. Here are their core principles. CARE support free enterprise, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, something that Republicans should be excited about. CARE is committed to protecting the civil rights of all Americans, regardless of faith. Another one Republicans should be about. CARE supports domestic policies that promote civil rights, diversity, and freedom of religion. CARE opposes domestic policies that limit civil rights, permit racial, ethnic, and religious profiling, infringing on due process, or that prevent Muslims and others from participating fully in America's civil life. Now, so far, listening to their core principles, it sounds like America, because we are supposed to be founded on these same principles. CARE is natural ally of groups, religious or secular, that advocate justice and human rights in America and around the world. Now, that may upset the leaders of our government, because our government don't care about world religion. They don't care about world justice, and they don't care about human rights because we violate them all across the world every freaking day. So CARE is more American in that principle than our government is. Number 6, CARE support foreign policies that help create free and equitable trade, encouraging human rights, and promoting representative government based on socio-economic justice. Again, something our country should be founded on and pushing. But we've drawn back from that, mainly because we're so greedy that we got to dominate other countries and take everything from them, leaving people refugees, which is where Ilhan Omar came from. She is a refugee based on things that we helped happen in Somalia, things that we've done to the Somalian people. Now, we didn't do it 100%, but we helped. Now, let me go back to the core principle. CARE spelled C-A-I-R, believes that active practice of Islam strengthens the social and religious fabric of our nation. Now, a lot of people say America is a Christian country, founded on Christian principles. Look, I'm a Christian. Who you kidding? Okay, all right. But that right-wing Christianity is not a representation of Christ. Now that's another video I can do on my own. But go check out my man over there at Progressive Politics. He's a fellow Christian that talks about progressive issues also. Okay, go check him out. Okay. CARE condemns all acts of violence against civilians by any individual, group, or state. So these are Muslims who are against civilians, against individuals, against civilians who are, I mean, in other words, they're against violence. So they don't support totalitarianism, world domination. They don't support terrorism. They don't support none of that. CARE advocates dialogue between faith communities, both in America and worldwide. CARE supports equal and complementary rights and responsibility for men and for women. So they're not a sexist group. Now, the reason I'm going over these core principles is because majority of the people on the right, especially in what we call right wing, I call it right wing extreme Christian ideology, will make you think that all Muslims are out to do harm. That's like they were saying all black people are out to do harm at one time. All it is racial prejudice based on skin color and religious prejudice based on the fact that they practice Islam. Now you got to understand, there are different factions of Islam. They're not all extreme. No different. There's different factions of Christianity. Some extreme, some not so extreme. I mean, you got some crazy nutwing Christians that go around blowing up abortion clinics back in the day. I mean, you got some crazy ones, like the one that went into the mosque and shot a bunch of people in the name of Christianity and Trump. Fool. All right, the Council of American Islamic Relations, CARE, is a grassroots civil rights and advocacy group. CARE is America's largest Muslim civil liberties organization with regional offices nationwide. All right, so the bottom line, you can take some time out and go through their website on your own. All right, so she's wrong. CARE was not founded after 9/11. CARE was founded in 1994. Okay, so she's wrong on that. CARE was not founded after 9/11. But hey, everybody can be wrong sometimes. All right, now the whole point of this is they're upset because she said some people did something. Let's continue to watch Fox version of this. All right, we're going to see Dan Crenshaw. Now, Dan Crenshaw went off on Ilhan. Now, Dan Crenshaw is a former military man who served in the Middle East. So he could kind of talk trash about serving in the Middle East, but he don't understand that Ilhan Omar lived in the Middle East. But let me go ahead and let's listen to what he got to say.
It is not some people who did something. It's terrorists who killed almost 3,000 Americans. And we should talk about it that way. We should talk about it with deference. And it was not taken out of context, by the way. There's a lot of claims that it was. Of course it wasn't. And I think everyone should just look at the clip and decide for themselves. And I don't think it's out of line to simply call that out.
Now, he said it wasn't taken out of context. Now, you focus on one thing she said, some people somewhere. And since you want to make sure that you want to get on her because she's not saying Islamic terrorists or radical Islamic terrorists, as you Republicans like to say, not understanding the people who funded these terrorists are people who we're dealing business with every day, including your president who leads your party, Donald Trump. It was the Saudis that was implicated in financing this whole terrorist operation. So when she said some people, why would she give them the credit by calling them terrorists? They love the name terrorists. That makes them feel good. When people have a mindset of terrorizing people, there's some people that's so sick in their mind and so psychotic, they love the word terrorist. It's like a bully. Some people love for you to call them a bully because that's what they do. And they know bullies instill fear and they eat that up. So why would you continue to call it terrorists? I mean, I could call it terrorists. Don't bother me. But I don't see her saying some people. Look, if you call the terrorists who bombed the towers terrorists, why don't you call Saudi Arabia terrorists? They could have did it without them.
And criticize it.
CARE was founded after 9/11.
No, that is wrong.
Because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
And all Representative Omar had to do with.
And she's right. After 9/11, racial tension, prejudice, xenophobia swept across the United States. When it was not there before, not to this level. And when you got people in office that's stoking the flames like this dude, and like Trump, who made a mockery of her at one of his rallies to drum up his base when he should have been presidential and tell them, no, she's an American. Since he's a Christian, we're going to love her. Charge to the head, not to the heart. We don't have that kind of person. But let's finish hearing what this guy got to say.
It's really, I don't know, explain herself. Say whatever she wants. Say she didn't mean it. I don't know. Diffuse the situation, but don't double down. All right? Don't play the victim card. Don't start making accusations at me. I mean, I just think that was uncalled for.
How is she doubling down, making accusations against you? What she's saying is right. After some fool idiots, was that better? Would that have been better to you, dude? Dan Crenshaw, would have been better for her to say some fools want to do foolish things by attacking Americans on 9/11. Would that been better for you? Or she just have to say terrorist? Because if you want to call somebody a terrorist, you can call our whole entire government terrorist the way we're terrorizing other nations right now. We're trying to plot to terrorize Venezuela. We're trying to run a man out of his country, and we're starving the people in order to do that and trying to get the people to blame him for them starving. Isn't that a terrorist act? Because a terrorist act ain't got to be an act of violence. Starving a country through sanctions is a terrorist act. So come on, dude, man. Man, these politicians make me so sick with this stuff, man. I mean, I don't know how these fools vote these people into office, man. I mean, I honor this guy for his service to the country. I love my brother. He's an Army recruiter.
This is the height of partisanship, when we can't just come together and properly assume that we should not diminish the acts of 9/11 by saying things like some people did something.
How do you figure she's diminishing it by saying some people did something? She could say some people did something. She could say terrorists attacked it, and those terrorists, including Saudi Arabia, who funded it. Would you been happy? No, you wouldn't have been happy because you just gave them a blank check and started giving them weapons. You and Trump are trying to come together to arm them with nuclear weapons. The people who attacked 9/11, the people who financed the attack to 9/11, you guys are doing business dealings with them. So who's wrong? Who should be shameful? Ilhan, because she told the truth? Because she wouldn't give these guys the credit for calling them all terrorists? Me, I would have said these fools. Would that have been better? No, you got to call them terrorists. Well, like I said, if you're going to call them terrorists, call us terrorists, because we got Chelsea Manning right now. Well, I heard she was released, but she went to jail because she would not testify against Julian Assange. We'll get to him later. Because she released the information of our military men, your brothers and sisters, going around shooting random people with a drone. Like they were playing some kind of video games. Innocent, random people in the Middle East. We're talking about grandmas. We're talking about granddaddies. We're talking about moms, dads, uncles, kids. People who were hurt. We're sitting up there bombing them. So who's the terrorist, dude? Who's the terrorist?
Okay, that's not what happened. And we should come together and take note of that. You know, one of the most disappointing things of this entire controversy that I've seen is, again, these members from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Max Rose, trying to deflect the attention from Omar by attacking me, claiming that I'm not for 9/11 first responders. This is a really dishonest attack.
Well, when there was time for them to get some kind of restitution, where were you? All right, so let's don't sugarcoat it. All right, let's since you want to say let's don't placate this. Let's don't double down. Well, you're double downing, dude, because you blocked that. You blocked aid from going to victims of 9/11. On top of that, your party, along with some of the Democrats, I fought both parties. You guys got a bill to pay 9/11 victims. And Obama, which you're probably happy that I'm putting them out there like that, Obama vetoed it. Let me keep going.
Let me tell you how I am for 9/11 victims and 9/11 first responders. I'm the guy who went overseas to make sure this never happened again, to take the fight to the enemy that committed these attacks. I would go back and do it every day if I could. So
I bet you will go back and do it every day. So I applaud you. Because of 9/11, you joined the military to fight against these terrorists. But you got to understand, these terrorists are not just black and brown men in the Middle East. You got to notify who the terrorist is. And that's the problem with this government, because we don't really know who the terrorist is unless we can label them either through some document or some kind of identity, like Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, ISIS, and ISIL. We have to have some way of identifying itself. So you were proud enough to take on a uniform, and I congratulate you on that, dude, to go fight terrorism. You can't fight a mindset. You can't fight an ideology. You had an opportunity to fight some people, but look, terrorists is bigger than just some people on the ground with some land bombs, IDEs, or some machine guns. There's money backing these terrorists, and your Republican Party and some of the Democratic Party, if I'm not most of them, all are signing off deals for the people who funded 9/11, funded it, the Saudis, to get nuclear weapons, trying your best to get them in their hand. You gave them weapons. Anyway, you want to talk about terrorism, dude?
to say that kind of attack, again, that is the height of partisanship, and I'm really disappointed in them for saying that, especially coming from New York.
Now, I saw this paper the other day. The New York Post, shameful for them to go this route. That's why they dying out and nobody buying that crap. They literally got to give away that paper. Because they still want to hop on this. Representative Ilhan Omar, she said 911 was some people did something. Here's your something, and he showed a picture of the towers getting attacked. 2,977 people dead by terrorists. Yet again, I will reiterate again, at the same time, we're doing business with a country that aided and funded this mess. The Saudis. We had a journalist that got mutilated, chopped into pieces and put in a case because he went to visit Saudi Arabia, yet we won't speak on behalf of this journalist. We're right now trying to run down Julian Assange, a man who leaked information about our government going down there in Saudi Arabia, well, not Saudi Arabia, but going to, I think it was Iraq, and bombing innocent kids, innocent women and children like it was a game. And we're going to focus on her saying some people did something. Hey, how about the United States and some people who did something? Because we're allowing people to commit genocide. We're funding genocides in certain areas. We're funding the Saudis to attack people in Yemen. They had that blockade coming. I mean, they had the blockade there. They're starving the Yemen people. We got sanctioned on Venezuela to starve the Venezuelan people, and you want to focus on the word terrorism? Man, get out of my face with this mess, man. Alexandria Cortez got some wild eyes, man, some big bug-eyed eyes, man, but she ain't as cute as this thing. But anyway, so this man's gonna get upset at this man because of what Ilhan said. Now, recently on Fox News, we had a gentleman come on Fox News and just talk trash about Ilhan. And this guy is a Muslim. And he has to be one of the Muslim Republicans. I think his name is Zuhdi Hazar. Zuhdi Hazar is a American medical doctor specializing in internal medicine, nuclear cardiologist in Phoenix, Arizona. Hazar is a former lieutenant commander in the United States Navy. Now, you got a military man who served in our Navy, okay? Now, where he served as staff internist in the office of the attending physicians of the United States Congress. In 2003, with a group of American Muslim, Hazar founded the American Muslim Foreign Democracy, which is supposed to be in direct competition with CARE, when they should be working together. But CARE is seen as a more democratic or more progressive organization, and American Islamic Forum for Democracy is more on the conservative tip, when they need to be working together and stop this conservative progressive stuff and just be together for democracy. It's like different organizations like the NAACP and the Black Panther Party. You know, you got your differences when you need to be working together. And they'll rather placate to these political leaders in office versus coming together and focusing on having a concerted effort to really fight for Muslim rights. And one of the things that failed the black community, even to this day, and that's my community, is we have a lot of political organizations that are black political organizations, but they can't come together. Because at the same time, they see that our government is killing innocent Muslim people in the Middle East and calling it terrorism when it's really not. For an example, now I'm not going to pull it up because I've been on here too long. This whole thing wasn't supposed to be about Ilhan. For an example, there was 3 schools that got bombed down because they said Al-Qaeda was in their school. There was a bus that we bombed because they claimed that Al-Qaeda were hiding in the bus. Dude, you wait till the bus, all the kids are off the bus and see if you see an Al-Qaeda soldier. Until then, you don't bomb jack. So you're going to kill a bus full of innocent kids, innocent, trying to get 1 or 2 Al-Qaeda. That's why one of my pet peeves with the Obama administration was the drone strike program, because 97% of those people that got bombed never hit the people it was supposed to hit. There were innocent people that got killed. Innocent men, women, kids that got bombed by our government. So you don't think she don't have a right to really say anything? I don't care if she says some people or some fools or some idiots or terrorists. It doesn't matter. Bottom line, it's people. Because people, not a federal government, people with horrible ideologies that should never be taught, and they're teaching it to their kids today so they can grow up as radical Islamic terrorism, the word y'all like to hear. Y'all making a big issue because she didn't call it terrorism. Like I said, fools, idiot, murderers, what do you want her to say? Does that matter? The bottom line is a terrorist is a terrorist. The purpose of a terrorist is to terrorize people. And we are the biggest terrorists of them all, dude. So people like Hasir, come on, dude. Wake up, man. That's your Muslim sister. I'm American first. That's your Muslim sister. You say you're Muslim? That's your Muslim sister. You can't tell me what she's saying is not right, because it is right. Because of 9/11, because of some terrorists that were extreme Islamic. There wasn't, you got to separate it. They're from the extreme part of the Islamic faith. There's so many parts of Islam that practice so many types of Islamic practices. You can't lump them all into one bunches. Just like there's so many types of Christians in America. You got the holiness, you got the Pentecostal, you got the Baptist, you got so many denominations. The same thing goes on in the Islamic faith. You got so many factions of the Islamic faith. When you got some extreme people that do stupid stuff, funded by extreme people that do stupid stuff, what happens is their civil rights get taken away because people assume all Muslims are the same, which is called xenophobia, racism. Now I'm almost done. All right, so let's see what, and then Trump gonna go on the trail trying to trump up his base instead of defending this woman's freedom of speech. He's gonna stoke the flame to make it even worse. And right now we got this lady and her family, her husband, her kids are being threatened by these right-wing extremists who want to knock her out the box, thinking they're going to do Trump a favor. I got to serve the almighty Trump like that fool is Hitler, or trying to serve in interest of American, trying to show that you're a patriot. A real patriot do not have to do stupid stuff like that, man. A real patriot can agree to disagree. You let the president paint Democrats as evil trolls, just like Hitler painted the Jews a certain way. And look, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm independent. I think they're wrong and horrible in every party. No party is perfect, and no party is halfway even perfect. All of them suck to me. That's why I'm for people over party. I focus on the individual. I don't focus on what party they're part of, because it's parties that do this stuff. Hitler came from a party. And now Trump is stoking up his base with this stuff about Islamic and Muslims, and this is causing people to go in and shoot churches, shoot mosques, kill innocent people, some of them even killing Jews. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. It's no matter what this young lady does, she tells the truth, and the truth hurt, man. I think one of the things she need to do before she go out and speak, she need to have what's his name, man, from that movie, and say, you can't handle the truth. He need to go out there and do that speech before she start talking, because all she talks is truth. She was truth about not Israel, not the people of Israel, but the government of Israel and AIPAC. Totally separate things. AIPAC do not represent the people of Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu does not represent the people of Israel. He represents them as the prime minister, but not every Israeli agree with his views. Right now, this man is terrorizing Palestinians, locking them up and treating them like slaves. The same way Trump is terrorizing these kids, locking them up and treating them like crap. Some of these kids are missing now. And this is happening in our federal government, yet they're supposed to be friends. And y'all gonna stand up here and try to hop on this young lady because she made a statement saying some people, when you got Benjamin Netanyahu and our own president funding terrorism. Any company I find out that's supporting a government like the Netanyahu government. Now, as a young Christian, I looked up Netanyahu, but when I start seeing the things that administration is doing to Palestinians and other people in that area, especially black Jews in that area or black Palestinians, once I saw what was going on with them, oh no, I can't have that, man. And this ain't the first time you're going to hear me talk about this. I am for my black community. I am for all communities, but I have to be for my black community, numero uno, in America first, and then worldwide second. How can I fight and speak on black issues all overseas and not even speak on black issues in America? I'm going to speak on both, but I got to put black America first. So since I'm a person that talk about black America in the United States, I'm also qualified to talk about what's happening to black people all across the world. And what's happening to black people, and I know some people don't like me using that term black and brown. I don't give a crap. Unsubscribe me, man. Don't watch me. Because I got black people that get mad at me because I say black and brown. When I say black and brown, I'm literally mean brown people that would be considered black by any other nation. I'm not, people assume, well, why are you bringing Hispanics and Latinos and all this in the conversation? Because I'm not a tribalist. I believe in black Americans first and black worldwide second. And I have to do that because I can't claim to love blacks outside this country, and I don't even love my blacks in this country. So in order for me to do both, I got to acknowledge the black people in my country too, so I can love the black people outside the country. I can't do that. That's being hypocritical. So I got to love my black people here, but I love my black people nationwide. I'm not a tribalist. I'm more of a first, second, third, fourth. Okay? All right. So right now they're terrorizing black men and women in the Middle East, in Israel, and they're terrorizing them in places like Libya. They actually sell them as slaves. Places like Somalia, that's the reason why they had to go leave their country, Ilhan. So I'm about that. So, all right, so for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the whole speech, but you take time out and listen to the whole speech. Like I said, Representative King is a punk politician, a racist, a bigot. The king of xenophobia. Trump ain't got nothing on him. That's why that guy couldn't have never been president, because he'd have been Trump 10 times worse. He's one of the worst people to ever run for office. I don't even understand why New York is still hiring, but he's in a whole district where it's, it's a Republican stronghold anyway, and so ain't no black people, no Hispanic, no, it's not multicultural up there. That's all I can say about that. But the bottom line is, this young lady had an opportunity to speak at a Muslim event, and CAIR, C-A-I-R, and we went over the mission of CAIR, and it's basically the Muslim version of the NAACP, or what's supposed to be the NAACP, and their goal is civil rights. And she mentioned one statement, and they all up in arms. She did not term it correctly, and that's why they upset. She did not say terrorists. She didn't say radical Islamic terrorists. She didn't say ISIS, Al Qaeda, and Nusra. She didn't name no names, giving them some kind of prominency on her lips. She said some people did something. So she wanted to say, so she's supposed to say murdered, killed. Your own president won't even talk like that. Yeah, she get bruised, beat up, and she get death threats. All because she's telling the truth. Okay, like I said, and in summary, everybody know who she was talking about. She ain't got a name, she ain't got to say it your way, but you guys are upset. The bottom line, and I'm going to reiterate this again, is because of the attacks on 9/11, the government leaders began to become xenophobic and the racism lights was turned on. The racism heat was turned on. It went from a green to a bright red. The alert is on when it comes to any Muslim. To this day, when my beard was longer, I couldn't even get on the subway with my bag because they were pulling me over to the side, want to look at my bag. And it wasn't just because I'm black. It's because my skin color is almost like Ilhan's, and I had a beard. And sometimes I would have on a hat over my head that may look like a Muslim hat, a kofi, whatever they call it. And they would look at my bag. And I got tired of that mess. The xenophobia is high, and it's still high to this day. And Muslim people and black people who can look like Muslims, the Somalians are Africans. They're considered black people. Whether you like it or not, they're considered black people. So when, you ain't gotta be blacker than black, midnight black like Bernie Mac. You ain't gotta be like that. The bottom line is she's saying because of the issue of 9/11, our government lost their doggone mind, and now everybody look like a terrorist, and now they're starting to take away civil liberties. I mean, everything under the sun. And she's right. And if you want her to mention terrorists, then she might as well mention Saudi Arabia too, because they funded those guys and went as far as willing to pay for that dumbness. Willing to pay the government. Yeah, we paid to bomb y'all government, and we'll pay to make it go away. They're willing to get reparations for 9/11 victims, yet our government go crazy when we talk about reparations for American descendants of slaves. There was a plot from some terrorists, from some extremist Muslims, or as you Republicans say, radical Islamic terrorists, to bomb the Twin Towers. I guess they didn't have the money for it. Guess who gave them the money for it? Implicated in the 911 report, say Saudi Arabia was implicated. Saudi Arabia said, yeah, Saudi Arabia say, look, we'll give you reparations for that. We'll give reparations to the 911 victims. And they were willing to give it, and you guys voted for it. Only one person stood in the way of it, President Barack Obama. He blocked it because he knew that if he allowed that to go through, that means other countries can sue us for the terrorism we do. Because we are the kings of terrorism. You cannot, even though 9/11 was horrible and a lot of people died and people that I know was affected, my ex-wife was affected. That messed her up. She was one of the cops that helped drag bodies out of that place. So she know that messed people up. It's still, it compares. It's horrible now, but it don't even compare to all the bombing, lighting the whole Middle East, lighting up Africa and on fire. And now we're trying to do that over here in Venezuela. Y'all got the nerves to talk about this woman because of some terms that she didn't use. She didn't say it the way y'all want to say it, so y'all feel butthurt and y'all want to cry because she didn't say it the way y'all want her to say it. What if she did? Would you be happy? No, you would still find some way to be mad at her. I say this. There's no excuse for you guys stoking the flame for people to attack her. But the bottom line is, she ain't in this to play y'all game. And she ain't gonna ever be in this to play y'all game. She's gonna continue to tell the truth, whether you like it or not. To me, she need to get further. If we gonna mention terrorism, we definitely gotta lump the Saudis in this bunch. Let me say this, not the Saudis, because I get on people about saying the Russians. The Saudi government is implicated in this mess. So if you're going to mention terrorism, if you want one person to mention terrorism, let's mention it all, because the United States, the government that runs my country, the country that I love, and that she loves, whether you like it or not, is lighting the world on fire. and expect nobody to step to them and tell them what they did is wrong and what they did is terrorism. This guy, Julian Assange. I just did a Freedom on Fire episode about Julian Assange, and I want to know, where are the journalists out here? Every journalist need to be out here advocating for this man who is a journalist. This man has done more than 1,000 journalists combined. This man reported news that should have never ever been, that they tried to cover up. See, what the problem is today is a lot of journalists are punks. They don't investigate. They make up stuff. They let their owners give them the talking points and they put it all in the paper. A lot of them, not all of them, but a bunch of you are punks. And I'm not even a journalist, and I can do a better job than you, as Jimmy Dore would say. Bunch of punks. You don't take time to investigate. That's why I shout out to Jordan Sheridan. Go give money to Status Quo, because they out there in the field doing journalism, investigation. They'll call it out when they see it. Unlike the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos. I got to shut up around here because there's some Amazon fire sticks and phones around here, and he owns all that. He can listen to your conversations if you want to. Matter of fact, you guys got to go look at that. That's the study I'm going to do, because all these people buying all these Amazon devices, and I just bought one the other day, come to find out, a lot of them are built in with Alexa, and Alexa have the ability not just to hear you, but they have the ability, not for you to tell them something and they hear it. They have the ability to hear you and whatever you're doing in your house. So Big Brother is in your house with these Alexa devices, these Google home devices. Just like you can speak to it and it can give you access to the World Wide Web and the music and all that kind, it can listen into your household. Proof is in the listening. If you ever said something to it and it heard you, that means it picked up your conversation. Now, I want to get off that. I said that because Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos don't even give his journalists an opportunity to do true investigation because he's afraid they're going to investigate him. Now, my thing is, where are the journalists? Now, the people are upset and the people are starting to demonstrate now. Where's the journalists? Because if they do that to him, they're going to do this to you. People are taking it to the streets, man. They're not playing. Now, it's not at big numbers, it's a start. But let's get into this, because we have so-called game-changing candidates running for office, people who claim to be revolutionists, not saying a doggone thing about it. Mums is a word. They're going full-blown Elizabeth Warren. When you need them to say something, they are not there. Yet, on the other hand, Tulsi Gabbard, she went and said something. Now, I'm going to talk about that a little later. But she did mention, she stood out strong against this mess. You're going to take a journalist and you're going to charge the journalist as if he committed the crime. Really? Really?
This morning, Julian Assange is gearing up for a fight, waiting to find out if he'll be sent to the U.S. to face charges. On Thursday, the handcuffed Assange giving a thumbs up and winking at cameras as he entered a London courtroom. Despite a not guilty plea, a judge quickly convicted him of skipping bail, calling him a narcissist who cannot get beyond his own selfish interests. WikiLeaks founder shouting and struggling as he was dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in Britain, where he had holed up for 7 years after that country revoked his asylum. Ecuador's president accusing Assange of discourteous and aggressive behavior, the move clearing the way for a U.S. extradition request. The Justice Department unsealing an indictment Thursday accusing Assange of conspiracy with former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to hack into a Pentagon computer. Assange's lawyers are vowing to fight.
It is unacceptable that a publisher be extradited to face prosecution in the United States for publishing truthful information, and no democratic government should be seeking to prosecute a publisher for that, and nor should any other democratic government extradite a publisher for doing that.
WikiLeaks released hundreds of thousands of classified documents on the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan in 2010, embarrassing the U.S. government. The group also behind the release of emails hacked from the Democratic National Committee in 2016.
The bottom line is he has to answer for what he has done, at least as it's been charged.
Then candidate Trump praised.
All right, I can't wait. I can't do it. All right, so they're extraditing this guy. They're kicking him out. Mainly the Ecuadorian president is a little scared of this dude. He allowed them to come in and take him. And then as soon as they get out, they're going to charge him for skipping bail. How am I skipping bail, dude? I'm in an asylum. So immediately they're going to trump up charges on this guy to try to get him locked up. And now they're going to work to try to get this guy extradited. And then Hillary, whatever her name is, got the nerves to say this. Let me go back, because this lady, man, oh, God, help me.
Emails hacked from the Democratic National Committee in 2016.
The bottom line is...
Now, understand this. He did not hack those emails. He didn't even conspire with Chelsea. Who conspires to get information to report it? She got the information. She saw it. She gave it to him. There's no conspiracy in that. Nobody conspired to do that. He's doing what he's normally do. Somebody give me information on something to expose the horrors in our government or the horrors in our corporate system. I expose it because I'm a journalist. That is my job. This is what I do. And I give the information out. I leak it out. I'm a journalist. I am a reporter. I'm supposed to report this stuff. I'm supposed to have some protections to do this. And it's all right to those who it benefits. They're actually going to say this man conspired with Chelsea Manning to do this. And then this woman right here got the nerves to say he need to answer for his crimes. What crime, Hillary Clinton, that he done? You want to talk about crimes? You really want to talk about crimes? You really want to talk about crime, how you shape shift and you pretty much money laundered all the Democratic Party DNC money from the down ballot, defunding them to fund your campaign to try to defeat Trump. And in not winning, they didn't win because you took all the money from them. You want to talk about a crime? You want to talk about crime? How about you, John Podesta, Nero 10, and Robbie Muke, and all those other numbnuts conspiring to kind of stick it to Bernie Sanders in the election? You pretty much bailed the DNC out because they didn't have no money, and you took over as the empire president. And you called the shots from the top all the way to the bottom, and that's why you felt so confident that I'm winning, it's in the bag, I'm winning, I got more votes, blah, 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 blah. And your butt still lost to that clown. And you blame the loss because WikiLeaks spilled the beans on you. All they did was spill the beans on how you and your cohorts, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and all them numbnuts, rigged the election. You rigged the Democratic primary, a process in the presidential election. And you had to try to deflect that and come up with this Russia crap when it really was you and your cohorts that did this. And you using Russia as a scapegoat for how sorry of a candidate you are. And as a result of your narcissism and your foolishness and your trickery, the bottom line is you lost. And now you're going to say he need to pay for this, the crimes that he did. The bottom line, he didn't commit no crime, but boy, did you.
He has to answer for what he has done, at least as it's been charged.
Then candidate Trump praised WikiLeaks on the campaign trail.
WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks.
But now the president's saying,
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
Assange's.
Oh, you know nothing about him, but you were happy to have him on because he was helping you win the nomination. And when he really wasn't trying to help anybody win the nomination, he was just reporting the information that was given to him. That was his job. Unlike the other reporters who can't do that job because their bosses pretty much control what they can put out on paper or on TV or not.
Supporters say he's a journalist and whistleblower, calling his arrest an attack on free speech.
TV, $1, $2, $3 into my PayPal account. I think I deserve a cup of coffee every now and then. Anyway, let me stop. That was my plug. Let me get back to serious business, okay? I want to take this off because this is really irritating me. This is supposed to help me monitor my sound, and it ain't working. So excuse me. All right, so the bottom line is this. They've been conspiring to find some way to get this guy out of that embassy. He's been in that long time, 11 years. And I'm quite sure they're conspiring to find some way to give Russia to give up Edwin Snowden, but Russia ain't gonna go to it. Now, I wished, because you know Julian Assange helped Snowden get to Russia. I wish Julian Assange would have went to Russia, but that would have made the Russian case even more against him, because if he would have went to Russia instead of Ecuador, it's a catch-22. If he went to Russia instead of Ecuador, then they would say, yeah, he was being used by the Russians to meddle in our elections. Catch-22, I'm telling you. Again, WikiLeaks is an organization that's funded by the people to do whistleblowing, to blow the whistle on corruption no matter where it's at. Whether it's from your local government to your higher level government or corporation, it doesn't matter. And Julian Assange is great at that. Matter of fact, it's his organization. All he do is report. So what they're going to try to do is not only go after him, but go after the whole organization to shut them down. And we need this organization to shed light on the crookedness of our governments and our corporations. We need them. They are patriots. They are the common man's best friend, because they report the news the way it is. Whatever's being covered, they bring into light. And that's what happened with Chelsea Manning. Chelsea saw something that was covered up. She brought it to light. Gave it to him, he reported. Now everybody know how evil the United States government can be, all because he reported it. And other things that he reported. Whistleblowers, like the Pentagon paper, we need whistleblowers. Like the Watergate, we need whistleblowers. We need Julian Assange, and we need millions like him. How in the world are you going to say this man gets some information from Guccifer, who nobody know where Guccifer really came from? They say he's a Romanian hacker, has nothing to do with Russia, and gave him information. They said, and I'll say it boldly up here, I get the funding. They say Self-Rich gave it to him. Doesn't matter who gave it to him. The bottom line is, if they find out you're going to leak some information, they're going to try to shut you down. So you got to get it to him as fast as you can. And he's trying to be secret about who gives him the information, because he wanted to encourage more people to give him the information to be transparent about world affairs, good or bad. And yet, right now, people who call themselves revolutionists have gone full-blown Elizabeth Warren. You know what I call Elizabeth Warren? Late Liz. Don't want to say anything about nothing until it benefits her. And right now, Bernie Sanders ain't saying nothing about this situation because it don't benefit him. Just like he won't say anything about reparations because it won't benefit him. He ain't gonna say nothing about Julian Assange being pulled away from the embassy on a bummed up, dumb charge to be persecuted by the British government. Hopefully to transfer him to the United States so they could put him in jail and persecute him and torture him or whatever. And then Hillary Clinton got the nerve to say something. Shut up, lady. Shut up. You're one of the most crookedest people on the face of this planet. You got the nerves to talk about he need to answer for what he did wrong. No, you need to answer for what you did wrong. Because nobody is going to stop talking about the 2016 election. Nobody's going to stop talking about that. Bunch of crooks, man. Bunch of crooks. Rig here, rig there. I'm winning. The person that stood up. Very understanding of the situation and vote the real concerns of the situation. Freedom of speech, using the justice system as a tool of abuse, because that's what this is. We're using the justice system as a tool of abuse. Ecuador uses it as a tool of abuse. The Ecuadorian president did it. Prime Minister of United Kingdom doing it. And we're ready to do it. So our article said that it's highly likely that the Swedish charges will stick to Julian Assange. Washington, D.C. want to charge him for hacking, conspiracy charges. It's a WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, was arrested Thursday to face a U.S. charge that he conspired to hack military computers after Ecuador's government ended the 7 years of self-imposed exile and expelled him from its London embassy. So somehow, some way, the Trump-led government turned their back on Julian Assange, who he said he loved, and they all came up with charges that he conspired to hack military computers. Like he can hack. He conspired. Police in the United Kingdom drag Assange from the front door of the embassy. Y'all saw that. Say in the indictment revealed Thursday morning, U.S. authorities say Assange conspired with former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to steal and publish huge troves of classified document. He conspired. So now the journalists conspire to go against the government. So that means you're going to say any journalist who tries to get information on a corrupt company, tries to get information on a corrupt government or a corrupt leader, that he conspired with the person who got that information, and that's a crime. The person who's corrupt is not a criminal, but the person who got the information on the corrupt person and leaked it is the criminal. How in the hell are you going to expect to be a transparent government when we can't have people do their job to expose the things that are covered up in that government? You don't want transparency. You're just talking out your mouth. That's why I don't believe nothing these politicians say. You got to show me that you did it before. You got to show me that you're doing it now before I can believe you're doing it in the future. Because most of them are a bunch of hacks. You're going to charge this man for hacking, a reporter for hacking, all because somebody gave him information. They hacked the computers and gave him the information that needed to be reported on. So I guess if I'm a drug dealer and I hand my weed over to the cops, or the cops take the weed out my pocket, they should go to jail for possession too. Right? They should. Because that's what you're saying right here. I'm selling drugs. You see me selling drugs. You roll up on me. You throw me on the ground. You pat me on my pants. You pull out weed in my pocket. I go to jail for selling and possessing. Why you can't go to jail for possessing? Because you now hold the drugs in your hand. Just because you're a cop don't mean you ain't going to take it and smoke it. So that's what the government is doing with this stupid case, man. They're pulling Julian Assange for reporting information that was hacked. And all he doing was taking the information from the hack. He didn't hack it. And reporting the dirty deeds of our government. And not just our government, but a lot of other government, corporations, politicians, you name it, business leaders. Something that's good so they can put them in jail. Now, here's the real deal. They want to strike fear in anybody who will expose the elite. Anybody who exposes corporations for the wrong things they do to their workers or to their clients, anything that they don't want them to, they don't want you, the government, to know about the horrible things they do in the prison system, the horrible things they do in military combat, the horrible things they do when it comes to doing business affairs or trade agreements. Anybody who wants to report on that, you better hope to God that when we do wrong, if somehow somebody expose us and let you know about it and you report it, you toast. It's over for you. You going to jail, and if need be, we're going to torture the hell out of you. Dude, I mean, people, you need to stand up against this. I'm doing my part to stand up against it. This is wrong, 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 wrong. That's why Tulsi Gabbard was at the top of this thing telling the truth. That's why my hats go out for, that's why I said, if any Democratic I'm going to vote for, it'll be her. Because she haven't missed the mark yet. And she's bold to stand up against this foolishness. Yet those who all they care about, now don't get me wrong, because I know you Bernie-crats out there, you're going to get upset. Get upset as you may. You can go out there and preach Medicare for all, preach no-cost education, preach low-cost prescription, preach reform the prison. You can preach all this domestic stuff, but you can't say nothing about this. I want a bold, fired up, unaccounted for, unaccountable, willing to risk it all politician. That's who I want. I don't want no tippy-toe person, little punk scared to say something. I don't want that person. I want somebody bold and brass and just nip it in the bud. It don't matter what it is. Jeremy Corbyn started to tiptoe, but I think he did finally say something about it. I want a real bold, brass politician that's going to stand up against these corporate elites, these military elites, these government elites, and call them all out. I don't need no punk politician that's doing the tippy-toe around issues. And right now, in this situation, Bernie Sanders is tippy-toe. Now, let me stop before I go. All right, it said Bernie-crats feeling burned as Sanders keep mum on Assange's arrest. This was 10:55 yesterday, and it was edited right now. All right, yep, it say the supporters of U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders holds a place card at the DNC Convention 2016, but not for sale. But it seemed like Bernie is silent on this situation. So to this date, Bernie Sanders have not said anything. All right, somebody killer can. Where are you on Julian Assange? Come clean, Bernie. We have a right to know where you stand on freedom of the press. I cannot support a candidate that chooses to become complicit in the dismantle of our First Amendment. All right, Kelvin Calvino said, Tulsi did, thankfully. I hope Bernie follows. And that's when Tulsi made the statement about Julian Assange. This is a slippery slope, as Tulsi Gabbard said, and this need to be dealt with. This need to be talked about on social media. This need to be blowing up. We need to be at news media. But this is wrong, and we got too many people tippy-toeing, people who claim to be strong and strong for America and claim to be the best thing to battle against Trump. How you going to go against Trump, this man who don't care about nothing, who will say anything, anytime, anywhere, and don't care, and his base love that, when we got somebody who claimed to be a revolutionist, that's mum. Mum is the word on this. Silent, zip, zip. He's unzipping and flipping, won't say nothing. Well, you got to be careful about what he said. This ain't the time to be careful. A man was pulled out of the embassy over some trumped up charges, and America has charged this man with hacking, and they're going to try to get him to come here for something that he had nothing to do with. But yet, the person who wanted the drone strike him, you're going to go out and support him, support her to become our president because Trump is worse. Really? Really? All right, I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Well, she did it again. Tulsi Gabbard showing how presidential she really can be. I call her the underdog in the race because man, they're trying their best to press her. I thought they, in 2016, it was Bernie that was pressing down. Now it's her, right? They're really pressing down her because she really come after some people. And it's no different in this situation, because in the middle of this Julian Assange being pulled away from the Ecuadorian embassy and arrested and taken into custody, everybody been mummed the word except for her. That's right. Yeah, Bernie Sanders mummed the word. Elizabeth Warren mums the word. All your presidential candidates on the Democratic side, zip. Even Trump, who said, I love WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, I love them. Even he's backtracking and said, I don't know nothing about him. When it's his administration and the Democrats and the Republicans that are weaving his web to try to get this man over to our side of the water to try to accuse him of hacking charges. Now, how are you going to accuse a person who only report the information that was hacked as a co-conspirator in a hacking charge? Only in America you can do that, because other countries wouldn't dare touch that. Even Obama would not even touch that, because that was a slippery slope. That is really, really going against a core part of our Constitution, and that's freedom of speech. Now, justifiably so, Congressman Tulsi Gabbard, a candidate for president, went on Jake Tapper. Yep, his last name Tapper. That's not his porn name. But, Jake Tapper went on his show, and he questioned her about this situation. And this is what she had to say.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange arrested in London on charges of conspiracy to hack U.S. government computers, which contain classified information. Joining me now to talk about this and more, Democratic presidential candidate Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. Congresswoman, aloha. Thanks for joining us.
Aloha, Jake. Good to see you.
So you served 2 tours of duty in the Middle East. You're currently a major in the Army National Guard. Assange, along with Chelsea Manning, spread classified information that prosecutors at Manning's trial claimed could have brought harm to U.S. service members in Iraq and Afghanistan. Do you agree with that? And what do you think about Assange's extradition and prosecution in the U.S.?
Look, over time, there hasn't been any proof that that has been brought to bore. And what we have seen is that so much of the information that's been released has informed the American people about actions that were taking place that they should be aware of. It provided transparency around issues both related to civil liberties as well as actions that our military was taking in the Middle East that they should not have been. So really, I think what's happening here is some form of retaliation coming from the government saying, hey, this is what happens when you release information that we don't want you to release. And I think that's why this is such a dangerous and slippery slope, not only for journalists, not only for those in the media, but also for every American, that our government can and has the power to kind of lay down the hammer to say, be careful, be quiet, and fall in line. Otherwise, we have the means to be able to come after you.
So you don't think that he should have been extradited, and you don't support his prosecution in the U.S.?
I think the charges about hacking, look, those can and should be worked out in the court of law. My point is that I think there's a bigger issue at play here. There's a reason why the Obama administration chose not to extradite and prosecute Assange, because they understood the danger. They understood the danger of the government coming in and controlling essentially what information is and is not being released. We can go back to the release of the Pentagon Papers as an example. We can look to how the American people have benefited from some of this information being released. So I think we've got to look at it within this larger context here and make sure that we understand what's at stake and actually the danger of what happens when we have people in government, whether it's this administration or a future administration, basically saying, hey, look, we can call WikiLeaks a foreign intelligence agency. We can designate an individual as a foreign asset or this or that, simply because they don't like the information that's being published or they don't like the things that you're saying.
So here, once again, Tulsi Gabbard pulling no punches, not being tippy-toe about a situation, but doing the right thing, whether even if it costs her the election, she's going to do the right thing in this situation. And in this situation, she said, man, I'm not feeling it. In the words of the street, dude, I'm not feeling this. This is wrong. My guts telling me this. You don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing this. And Hillary Clinton got the nerve to run her mouth, her crooked behind. She's the reason she stepped down. Tulsi Gabbard saw how crooked Hillary Clinton was trying to get this thing to go her way. She stepped down. And all she's doing, she knew that this stuff was going on, but she couldn't say too much about it. But when WikiLeaks exposed it, it proved that she was on the right side of history again, because WikiLeaks validated everything that she was really trying to say but just couldn't say, because she's still a Democrat. And she's still, and yet, you know, you have to, when it comes to politics, you owe allegiance to the Democratic Party. You have to sign documents and all that kind of stuff, and that's wrong. You should not owe allegiance to nobody but the American people when you're running for public office. That's why I'm not in any party. You ain't gonna ever get me to sign up at any party. But Rob, we need your vote in the Democratic Party to stop Trump. Go on without me, Doc, because I'm not joining your crooked party. Both of them crooked. I'm not joining crooked organizations just because you want to stop a crook. You're on your own. As I said before, if there's anybody who in the Democratic Party that I would support, it's her, because she got guts. She's a female with balls. That's what she is, big ones. Because she ain't afraid to say what needs to be said. She's not an opportunist. She's not a tiptoe person. And even though she don't have a brash voice, even though she don't have that strong voice, she said, look, let me tell you something. How you inflect your voice in a speech has nothing to do. It may make you feel good. I can go to a church and that preacher can preach me to the point that I'm swinging on the chandeliers. Yeah, he can go out there and have sex with one of the members in the church. So that don't faze me. It's not about how good you preach. It's how you walk what you preach. And in this case, Tulsi Gabbard is walking what she preaches. And that's why I said if there's any Democrat that I'm voting for, it would be her. Now, it's too early. I still got my popcorn watching these guys, because the proof is in your action, not in what you say you're going to do, not what your policy is planning to do. It's what you do right now that determines everything else. As my pastor said, Pastor Deborah Hill, what you do today determines your tomorrow. If you can't stand up to the government and this crap they're pulling right now today, what make you think I believe that you're going to be able to stand up against it if you're the president? No, I need to see you do something now. And if you ain't doing nothing now, you ain't going to do nothing in the future. I don't trust people like that. Don't expect me to trust people like that. If you want to do it, you do you. But this dude, Great job, Tulsi. As my man Nico House would say, it's Tulsi time.